so we got clips here. We got Vince McMahon who's asked about Dana White, and we have Dana White who's asked about Vince McMahon. So I'm going to play this clip of Vince McMahon, and I'm going to play this clip, I'm going to read this clip of Dana White because he said it in the press. I don't think there's a video of it. Famously in the past, Dana White would do interviews and be like, man, Vince had asked me to fight him at WrestleMania. He's like, we could do a shoot or a match at WrestleMania. That's what Vince told Dana White, like back in the day, and that he's like, but he respects Dana's like, I fucking love Vince, he's like, but he's crazy, he's fucking crazy. He's a madman. So here's Dana White's quote on his relationship with Vince now. And this is via @Vic_8122. He follows us. We follow him. He's a good follow. So he says, Dana White talks about his relationship with Vince McMahon. Quote, my history with Vince isn't a good one, said White. He tried to fuck me so many times for no reason whatsoever, except just to fuck me. But that's in the past. Now that Vince and I are allies, no one's been a better partner than Vince. Since day one of the deal, it's like I'm dealing with a different guy. It goes to show you that when you oppose him, or he thinks you are opposing him, the guy comes after you blindly, which is crazy because Vince says the same shit, dude. And then he goes, once you are aligned, Vince is an incredible partner. We've probably spoken on the phone 20 times since the deal. It's since the deal 20 times? I don't even think I've spoken to my mother 20 times, bro. Get Dana on the phone. Holy shit. We've probably spoken on
the Dana voice?
No, he's just like a Boston guy. He's like, haha. I don't give a fuck. I don't know. I'll work on it, but he's not.
We're definitely work on it.
So he goes, it's all added value conversation with Vince, doing work and raising the bar for both companies. And then he's asked about Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. He goes, Triple H and Stephanie have always been great to work with. I've always had a great relationship with them. Always. Even when we weren't aligned back in the day. And even when they're beefing, they had a great relationship. Yeah, hence, sure, UFC 200, where Brock Lesnar showed up, even though he was juiced to the gills, and WWE let him go do a UFC fight. And what did UFC do? They promoted the fuck out of that WWE game that Brock Lesnar was on the cover for, and they had Paul Heyman doing the commercials. So that was just money all around, right? Even when we weren't aligned back in the day, he says, but the most amazing story is my relationship with Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon, he's an absolute savage. Even with the stuff that went down with us in the past, I respect it. I love killers. He's definitely a killer. He's the Michael Jordan of the business world. That's Dana White saying that, bro. He flipped the UFC from a losing money. He bought it for $2 million. He talked his buddies from high school into it. And he's a fucking cardio kickboxer instructor. Okay. And he talked his rich buddies into buying UFC for $2 million. He flipped it into like this $4 billion enterprise that's now merged into TKO. That's like a $20 billion enterprise. And he's calling Vince the Michael Jordan of the business world. Tremendous. These two guys are working together with Ari Emanuel. And I'm like, my brain is exploding as a fucking MMA, WWE. You guys, they're setting up UFC performance institutes all over the world. Currently, Mexico, they're building it up. I'm telling you, NXT Mexico, NXT Japan. Dude, New Japan's ratings are doing so bad in Japan right now, apparently.
That sucks.
And their attendance down. It does suck. NXT Japan. Now's the time. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Going for the
Dana. Let's get Dana on the phone. I heard you have a performance institute.
Call 21.
We're going to call it the Performance Center now, okay? Yeah. I know. Dana White's contender. We're going to have Vince McMahon's Contender Series. Yeah. Let's get me Vince Russo on the phone. I want to book a Brawl for All. I don't know. I'm being fucking stupid. I need more coffee. But anyway, so now let's get to Vince McMahon's quote on he's standing here with The Undertaker. So here's Vince McMahon and The Undertaker via MMA Junkies talking about Dana White.
Busting his chops.
Well, he said you tried to F him on multiple occasions.
Please, I don't do business that way. I don't bust anybody's chops unless they get in the way.
Yeah.
Dana and I do get along very, very well. He's really a good guy. And
sorry, please. Do you think it's a case of two alpha males in the same spot and they're going to have to try and take each other out, or eventually realize they can coincide and build it even bigger?
We're good partners and good businessmen. We're good businessmen. We get along.
Is it true you stuck him in the cheap seats for WrestleMania? Is it true that you stuck him in the cheap seats for WrestleMania?
No, not at all.
He did.
What?
Your thoughts?
He did for sure, bro. Yeah, so Dana. So listen, bro. This is what Vince, he ribbed Dana. It's respect, bro. It's wrestling. They rib each other, and 100% Vince did this. And the way he laughs and goes, "No, not at all, not at all. Why would me? No, I would never do that." Vince is known for his infamous ribs, and yeah, dude. And this is one of them. So back in the day, he invited. He invited Dana White and shit to like a WrestleMania. Yeah, come see what we're all about. We could be partner. This could be great, you know? Dana shows up with his team and shit. And he had him stuck in like the rafters, like in the worst fucking seats in the building. And Dana was like, what the fuck? And then when they had the deal with like Ronda, Dana White was in the front row cheering on Ronda. And like after her match, she went out there and gave him a hug and shit like that. So he was like, that was cool. Dana, because Dana's always been a shooter, right? Like he doesn't have to keep kayfabe. But I don't know. Just look at Vince here. This shit is hilarious.
Stuck him in the cheap seats for WrestleMania? Is it true that you stuck him in the cheap seats for WrestleMania?
No, not at all.
And
Your
Taker's
thoughts on
like,
the dynamic between Vince and Dana now that they're working together?
I think it's hilarious. They're so similar, the both of them. So it's too well. All due respect.
He's a tough guy. Come on.
But yeah, they're very similar. They say what's on their minds, and they're both really good businessmen. And they definitely want the best for each of their brands.
But better.
Undertaker's been getting lit with fucking sultans all day, dude. Whatever he wants.
Yeah,
They're
dude.
like, oh, Undertaker, we love you. They're just throwing him fucking whatever he wants, dude. You know, that's why these guys go over there. And, you know, every time I bring it up, guys, like this weekend is the fucking, the crown jewel or whatever.
Brown
And,
jewel.
yeah. And every time I bring it up, you know, like I'm always like, yeah, it's crazy that the women have to fucking wear like,
Right.
they're not wearing, they have to cover their bodies and shit's like crazy, dude. And Hairline always brings up, he's like, but there's women on billboards. There's women like being presented in front of all these people doing shit that no one's seeing. Like, you can't tell me that's not going to help push things in the right direction.
Exactly.
You know, like you can't tell me that that's not a foot in the right direction. You can't say that. And it's like,
And
that is
wrestling
so
did it.
true, dude. And wrestling did it. Wrestling's doing it before anyone. And UFC as well. You know, they have female fighters over there. For instance, people are pointing this out on X, formerly known as Twitter. This crown jewel coming up has more women featured on the card than AEW's whole fucking biggest pay-per-view of all time or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, they have more women featured on this show than most wrestling companies are even willing to put on fucking TV, you know, bar Impact or whatever.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Hairline's right about that. But yeah, man, your thoughts on like the Ngannou Fury shit and just Vince and them balling out and fucking, I don't know, man. Keep pushing it forward, and Saudi Arabia is making plays at the world. Your thoughts on all that stuff?
Well, yeah, I guess I'll say like it's good that Dana White is like doing what he's got to do and sucking it up to fucking do what's best for business and whatnot, you know. So
that's what real business.
That is what it is, man. I want some of that. Obviously, we don't ever have access to that, but like Taker just wilding, fucking getting drunk and shit, and fucking being rock stars, man.
Dude, they're just hanging out with
so crazy
and
like
shit. Yeah.
And Vince has got a cane now. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, and people were memeing that. Look, the Undertaker and Kane. But
yeah.
Let's see. Oh, that's good shit. Okay, so speaking of WWE,